just going to say it. The strong female character trope is often the weakest part of the story. By trying to make women powerful, writers often end up stripping away their humanity, their community, and their unique agency. If a character has to act exactly like a stoic male action hero to be respected, is that progress, or is it just another form of erasure? Let's talk about the 4 biggest mistakes writers make when trying to write tough women. I'm Rachel, but you can call me Red, and welcome to Red's Reviews. When writing strong female characters, the idea that leadership is the only path to strength is a common trope that can often backfire, making the character feel one-dimensional or even reinforcing the patriarchal structures the author may be trying to subvert. Often when a narrative insists that strength equals leadership, it devalues traits traditionally labeled as feminine. You can explore how strength is found in emotional intelligence, such as the ability to navigate complex social webs, de-escalate conflict, or provide the glue that keeps a group together. Or through resilience and endurance, where characters who survive impossible circumstances or keep a family or community running behind the scenes are strong, even if they never give a speech or lead an army. And what about nurturing as power, where choosing to protect or heal can be a more difficult and stronger act than simply commanding others? Subsequently, the strong leader trope often forces women into a position where they must be self-reliant to the point of isolation. Does she have to be twice as good to be respected? This can lead to a character who isn't allowed to ask for help or to have flaws which make her less relatable. Something that frequently gets confused is that there is a major difference between having authority, a title or rank, and having an agency, the power to make one's own choices. Sometimes women are forced into leadership roles they don't want, suggesting that they can't be important otherwise. A woman who chooses her own path, even if that path is solitary or unimportant by societal standards, exhibits a profound internal strength. One example of this is Winter from the Lunar Chronicles. I know that I use this series as an example a lot for good writing, but that's because it provides brilliant character examples that I think all writers should strive for. For a bit of context, the Lunar Chronicles is a sci-fi fairy tale retelling series where cyborg mechanic Cinder, along with pilot Scarlet, hacker Cress, and Princess Winter, unite to overthrow the tyrannical Queen Lavanna of Luna and save the Earth from plague and domination. It weaves together loosely inspired versions of Cinderella, Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, and Snow White in a futuristic world of humans, lunars, and androids. Manipulation of bioelectricity, known as glamour, is an ability of the lunar race that allows them to control the bodies of others. When this ability is not used, it creates something called lunar sickness, which causes extreme realistic feeling hallucinations that basically descends them into madness. While the lunar race believes that this gift makes them superior and that they have every right to control other people's bodies, Princess Winter believes that this is an overreach of power and refuses to use her gift, despite this leading to severe and painful hallucinations and being ostracized by those around her. She is the stepdaughter of Lavanna and has no royal blood, which makes her story and character development a perfect example of having agency, the strength to make one's own choices even when it's difficult, rather than having authority, a title, or rank. This is the misinterpretation that strength means a complete lack of vulnerability or emotional depth. Writers often equate emotional suppression with extreme independence, suggesting that a strong woman doesn't need anyone. This trope often strips the character of a support system. If she never asks for help or shows weakness, she never forms deep interdependent bonds. True strength is often found in community and trust. Acknowledging that you can't do everything alone is a sign of high emotional intelligence and maturity, not weakness. In addition, sometimes stoicism is used as a mask for trauma, but the narrative fails to acknowledge it as such. The character acts tough because of a tragic past, but the story treats this coldness as her superpower rather than a coping mechanism that might be hindering her growth. If a character is repressed, that should be a character flaw or a hurdle to overcome, not the end goal of her personality. Resilience is about healing, not just hardening. So this means that redefining strength to include empathy and emotional transparency allows for a broader, more authentic range of female power. An example that I really love is Vin from the Mistborn series. She was raised on the streets and taught by her abusive brother to not show weakness or emotion, to never trust anyone because, in his words, that is the only way to survive. Throughout this trilogy, she is met with a community who challenges these worldviews every day, and they are not treated as strengths, but hurdles that she needs to get past for emotional maturity and personal growth. This is the issue of making her strong simply by giving her traditionally masculine traits such as grunting, aggression, or emotional distance without exploring her own unique strengths or feminine power. This pet peeve is basically confusing strength with aggressive masculinity. The strong female character trope often falls into the trap of simply swapping gender roles rather than actually developing a complex person. By treating masculinity as the default for strength, writers can accidentally imply that femininity is inherently weak. When a character is written to be emotionally distant to seem tough, it misses the idea that true strength often comes from emotional intelligence. A truly strong character is someone who feels fear, grief, or doubt, but chooses to act anyway. Removing these traits doesn't make her strong, it makes her a caricature. Resilience, the ability to process trauma and keep going, is arguably even more powerful than simply being numb to it. One of my favorite examples of this is Cries, another character from the Lunar Chronicles. It's a series I have read 4 times and will probably read again. Cries is very much a damsel in distress, but that doesn't make her weak. Through trauma and tears, she keeps going even in the most difficult situations, and her genius, imagination, and creative strengths become invaluable to her team. Traits that are not inherently masculine, coupled with her emotional nature, makes her strong and thus her successes become even more rewarding. This is the notion that if a woman enjoys or engages in traditionally domestic pursuits, like caring for children, sewing, cooking, or managing a home, she cannot also be a strong, capable figure. This is diminishing strength that comes from sustaining a community or home, which can often be of vital importance. Writers often forget that not a single empire, rebellion, or adventuring party functions without a supply chain. In a war or crisis, the person who knows how to ration food, heal wounds, and maintain morale is often more vital than the one swinging a sword. Dismissing this as just chores ignores the high stakes and fearlessness strategies involved. It's important to remember that caregiving is the glue of society. A woman who maintains community ties is building social capital. This is a form of power that can be used to gather information, influence others, or provide a safety net that a lone warrior lacks. Additionally, managing a household or a group of children requires peak negotiation skills. A woman who can navigate a tantrum or a family feud has skills that translate directly to diplomacy and leadership. I want to see more stories of women who use traditional strengths that are often undervalued to protect and save lives in a crisis or even help form a new government through the skills that caregiving teaches, such as negotiation, diplomacy, leader protection, and healing. I mean, how many stories are out there that actually do that? Not many. And there are so many examples throughout history that you can draw inspiration from. The mental load, remembering everything that needs to be done, is a cognitive feat. A character who manages this for a family or community is exercising a high level of executive function. Here's a short clip from a review of the live-action Snow White that I think really captures this idea.
Criticizing Disney princesses is not feminist. Not every woman is a leader. Not every woman wants to be a leader. Not every woman wants or craves power, and that's okay. It is not anti-feminist to want to fall in love, to want to get married, to want to stay at home, to be soft, to want to be a homemaker. None of these things make you less valuable as a person or a woman.
These are the tropes that keep me up at night, but I want to hear from you. Which of these pet peeves bother you the most? Or better yet, who is a female character you love who breaks these rules? Whether it's Winter's moral agency, Vin's journey towards trust, or Cress who proves you can be a damsel and a genius at the same time, there are many exceptional ways to represent strong women. Drop your recommendations in the comments so we can all find better stories to dive into. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more deep dives into character tropes. I'm Red and I'll see you in the next review. Goodbye, legends!